In this video, we will go over the answers to problems 1 through 3 in the Practice 7th Grade MSA. Problem number 1 is all about reading. Valerie earned $12.50 per hour at her summer job. If she earned $375 last week, which equation can be used to determine the number of hours Valerie worked? Okay. $12.50 per hour. Let's think about it. Let's say you worked for 2 hours. And this is just the thinking I would go through maybe if I was stuck on the problem. So if I worked for 2 hours at $12.50 an hour, I would multiply to figure out my total. And I would get $25. Okay, so that means I need to take the number of hours, and multiply by $12.50 to get my total. So I'm going to do $12.50 times the number of hours. Well, up here, they used h for the number of hours, which means they want me to use a variable. They don't know how many hours. So I'm going to do $12.50 times h. And I know after I do my math that it gives me my total salary. So $12.50 times h equals what I earned. I earned $375. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Okay, problem number 2. Which table shows a decreasing linear relationship? In order for it to be decreasing, the sides need to be opposite values. They need to be changing in opposite directions. So if I look at the x pattern here, from 4 to 7, I added 3. And on my y column, from 5 to 7, I added 2. Both are positive, so they're in agreement. Therefore, it is not a decreasing relationship. In letter C, to go from 4 to 8, I added 4. And to go from 124 to 267, I added 143. Both are in positive direction, therefore it's not a decreasing relationship. In choice B, I added 1 on this side, and this side I added 0. It stayed constant. So maybe you were taking a road trip, and from hours 4 through 7, you only made it 56 miles. So that would mean you stayed at a constant. You stopped. Maybe you stopped to have dinner. Maybe you stopped to stay the night, so your mileage didn't change. Choice D, hopefully this will be the one. Let's see. From 14 to 24, I added 10. And from 58 to 47, I subtracted 9. They're in disagreement. One is positive, one is negative. Therefore, it is a decreasing relationship, and D is the correct choice. Okay, problem 3 should look familiar to you. A couple weeks back, we looked at this when we were grading other students' answers. They gave me a picture of a quadrilateral, KLMN, and they want to know the measure of angle M. Okay, first thing I know, it's a quadrilateral, and I know a quadrilateral has to add up to 360 degrees. Then I'm going to take the angles that they gave me, and I'm going to total those up. So 112, 98, and 82. Well, 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus that 8 is 10, plus the 9 is 19. Carry the 1 is 292. So I need to subtract 292 from 360. And when I subtract, 0 minus 2 I can't do, so I need to borrow. So this is a 5. This becomes 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 5 minus 9 I can't do, so I need to borrow. That becomes a 2. This becomes 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. And 2 minus 2 is 0. Therefore, the answer is 68 degrees. I see that there's a step A, which means there's got to be a step B. Step B, use what you know about the angle measures of a quadrilateral to justify why the measure you determined for M is correct. Justify. Okay, what I previously did was explain by showing my work. So now I need to justify. I simply say, I know that the angles of a quadrilateral must add up to 360. So I totaled the angles I knew and subtracted from 360 to get 68. Okay, so I've done this part. I stated the rule. Angles of quadrilateral must add up to 360. That's the key part of justify. The second piece. A new quadrilateral KLMN is drawn so that the measures of angle K and L do not change, but M and N are now congruent. Use what you know about angles of a quadrilateral to explain how this change affects the measure of angle M. Use words, numbers, and or symbols in your explanation. So I'm going to go back to the picture, and K and L don't change. M and N are now congruent. Okay? To be congruent, it means they're equal. If K and L aren't going to change, and M and N have to be the same, well, this can't be 82 because how it currently is, it would have to be 68. That must mean that this is also a blank. So now I'm going to call this X, and I'm going to call this one X. It's a quadrilateral, so it still has to add up to 360. And I'm going to add the two angles that I do know, 98 plus 112. And that gives me 112 plus 98 is 0, carry 1. And notice I'm still doing my work in the box, so it counts. It'll be scored. This is 11, carry the 1, is 210. When I subtract these two numbers, I get 150. But 150 is for two identical angles. So I need to divide it by 2, and each angle is 75. Okay, so let's go back to finish this out. If the two angles are congruent, then they are equal. So they would have to each equal 75 degrees. And that's enough because the work that I did previously is shown on the paper. So that would tie into this, and that counts as using symbols in your explanation.